You may be surprised to hear this, but right now, like not in 6 months from now, but right now is the best time to invest in multifamily apartments and real estate. My name's Spencer Gray. I'm president and CEO of a company called Gray Capital. We buy, manage apartment communities in the Midwest. We're based out of Indianapolis. Typically, we're buying, apartment units that are apartment buildings that are 200 units and more. We're either going in, managing them better, or fixing them up and providing really awesome places to live for the residents that live at our apartment communities. Now's the time to get into apartments. I mean, there's been a lot of fear and dark storm clouds perceived to be gathering around commercial real estate. And there is a lot of trouble that's going on right now. There's foreclosures, there's people losing money, there are defaults, and there is distress. And it can be scary. And if you're someone that's been looking at getting into real estate, getting into multifamily, it seemed like a little bit of a treacherous time to kind of jump into the waters. You don't want to catch that falling knife. I'm in the industry every single day. I have a podcast, a research newsletter, and I'm an active buyer of the industry. I've been more or less on the sidelines for the past 8 months, probably for some of the same reasons why you have been also. The deals haven't made sense. They're too skinny. There's too much risk. The prices have been going down. Rent growth hasn't been there. Interest rates are high. Expenses, don't get me started on insurance, utilities, payroll, contract services. It's all blown out. And all of this creates an environment of saying, can you really make money in this business? Is it worth investing in? Do we have to wait? Or is it ever going to be a good investment? Well, let me tell you, that is the exact type of thinking that means it's the time to jump in. Because when everyone else is running away, that's the opportunity to run in head first and to seize the opportunities that the others won't because of fear. The reality is prices are down 20 to 30% from the peak back in 2022. We're buying at deep discounts, and we have a decade in front of us with really attractive fundamentals. But there's a caveat to all this. If you're thinking you're going to get in and get rich quick and you're going to flip an apartment community in the next 2 years, just get out of town. That's not the strategy that you want to be focusing on. Can you make a boatload of money doing that? Yeah, you can. It's possible, but you can also lose your shirt. You can lose everything. And for some folks, maybe that's the type of investment strategy and risk profile that attracts you, kind of go big or go home. I'd rather get really rich the boring way over a longer period of time. I don't necessarily think a long time, but a longer period of time. I think with about 5 to 10 years of patience, you can reduce risk incredibly, especially compared to a short-term strategy. But it's not just that the prices are low. There's so many reasons why now is the time to get into multifamily and not to wait 6 months. Let's just look at some of those reasons on a latest research brief that the Gray Capital team has put together. Let's talk about supply. Right now, it's a risk factor, especially in the Sun Belt. Not as much in the Midwest, but there is a ton of supply coming online. Around 1 million units have been in the pipeline over the last year or so. Over 500,000, about 459,000 apartment units are set to be delivered in 2024 alone. Some have those numbers even higher, but that number is almost going to be cut in half by 2026, down to 250,000, depending on which metric that you're going to look at, whether it's RealPage, Yardi, CoStar, Freddie Mac, or the Census Bureau. All at the same time, we're seeing record demand. In Q4 of 23, we saw demand was at a 20-year high for apartments. Now, it didn't show up in rent growth, but so much supply was coming online throughout the Sun Belt primarily and all around the country. But the demand has never been higher. Partially, that's driven by how unaffordable single-family homes are. If you know anyone looking to buy a home, unless you've got a trust fund or your parents are putting down the down payment, it's just not possible. Interest rates are too high. They're in the 7 to 8% range. You're going to have a huge down payment to be able to do it. It's just not an option. Renting is so much more attractive and affordable than it ever has been before. And that is even after rents have increased over the last several years, even though they've declined over the last year and a half in most markets, not in the Midwest. But renting has never been more attractive. And it's going to remain attractive for the foreseeable future. We don't see the circumstances that are going to bring home valuations down. And they would have to decline so much that we would be dealing with much starker problems with the U.S. economy if that actually ended up happening. So we're going to see strong apartment demand over the next decade. We see immigration that has been peaking over the last several years, which really isn't even taken into account to a lot of these projections. Millions of people have come into this country over the last year. Where are they going to live? They need to have a roof over their head, and that puts additional pressure on the housing stock. We're adding 5.4 million new households between 2021 and 2023. We have not built 5.4 million new houses. And again, that does not include all the immigration that's taken place, whether that's legal or illegal, over the last several years. We need to build anywhere between 3 and 7 million new units over the next several years to even meet all this new household formation. The fundamentals could not be more clear. Housing, apartments are seeing incredible demand. Supply is getting ready to fall off, and the prices are at a steep discount. Now, the only challenge in the equation is interest rates are still high, so some of the returns, at least at first, seem to be low. But as interest rates come down at some point, you don't want to bet that they're going to come down right away, and your business plan needs to work regardless if they come down or not. But let's assume that most economists are halfway correct, which a lot of times they're not, but let's assume that they are this time, that interest rates are going to come down in the next year and a half or so. Cap rates will as well. The fact is there's an incredible amount of dry powder on the sidelines ready to jump into multifamily. It's about $402 billion, depending on who you ask, of money that is earmarked to invest in multifamily. And I can guarantee when the Federal Reserve comes out and says we are actually going to lower interest rates, that money is going to be out the door. It's going to be deployed, and cap rates are going to come back down. They're not going to come back to where they were during COVID in the 4% range or under 4% range, but we're going to get down to 5% cap rates here before you know it, as soon as interest rates decline. It's not going to happen beforehand, but I wouldn't be surprised if they started creeping down just before, but you're not going to see that show up in the data. What I'm trying to say is, when it's going to be obvious to invest, when it's going to be so clear that it just makes perfect sense, if it doesn't to you already right now while I'm telling you this, if you're going to wait, the opportunity will have passed. Not that there won't be opportunities, but they're not going to be the wealth generation opportunities that we are seeing right now today. We've got one project under contract here at Great Capital. If you'd like to take a look, if you're a accredited investor, we think it's an incredible opportunity. So I want to do this quick video to really lay out, don't wait. In real estate, appreciates over time. It's one of the, if not the most powerful wealth building tools in all of humanity, in all of human history. So I urge you to take advantage of the opportunity right now. Again, I don't know how long this window will be open, but it will be closed. This is the time to create generational wealth, or to preserve that wealth, to create those income streams. Let's jump and get on the opportunity before the opportunity goes away. All right, hop on over to Great Capital LLC if you'd like to learn more. Hop on over to our YouTube channel, the Great Capital LLC YouTube page. We have all kinds of content, our podcasts, informational videos, you name it. And if you like what you hear and you'd like to learn more about investing in multifamily apartments with Great Capital, again, hop on over to greatcapitalllc.com, schedule a meeting with our investment team, and let's go. All right, thanks.